Correct.
Good evening, everyone. We will call this meeting to order. It is 5:34 and please poll. Present.
Present. Jessica Mendoza is not here at the moment. Mario Pineda.
Present.
Kevin Matthews is not here at the moment. Claudia Lucas here. And Marissa Costa.
Present.
We have four.
Thank you. Order of business, the first edition of the deletions.
All right, so I would like to add on 6B. No, it's not stop up there, it's a new business. So new. Yeah, okay, so I guess it will be new B, and it will be the alternate logo presentation. And actually, I would like to move that to be discussed right after the approval of the minutes.
Alternate. What is it again?
It will be 9B, has to be new business.
What is the top?
It's an alternate logo.
Seal, alternate town
Okay.
seal competition for the schools.
There you go, whatever party said. But I just wanted to move it up. Because we have a two.
And then you want to move that to after approval of it.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
So I made the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You guys have it, so Steve, we are going to move that up, we're moving on the agenda. Public comments. Public comments. Hello.
Hello.
Happy New Year.
How are you?
Good evening. You have any public comments?
So just for everyone that's here, if you have a public comment, now is the
This is
time for you
the
to
time.
speak 3 minutes.
Except you already agenda.
So if anybody has anything to say.
Is anyone else going to be speaking today? Just me? Well, hello, everybody. Happy New Year. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano, so it's a pleasure to see you all here. I'm joining you today for two different things. There's something that I wanted to present as an opportunity to help our local schools, and a question that I had about the school showcase. So I don't know if you want me to present first or.
If you want, we do have the school showcase on the agenda, so if you want to wait for that or present your other topic first.
Absolutely. I met recently with our new school board member, Robert Alonso, and he shared with me a program that the city of Hialeah Gardens has, where they assist local schools with respect to janitorial services, custodial services, landscaping, school beautification, curb appeal per se. They even do some programs where they do some morale boosting things for their custodial staff, where they do gift cards for the holidays or turkeys for Thanksgiving, that sort of thing. I know that hasn't been something that the EAB has done before. But school board member Robert Alonso says that in Hialeah Gardens, it goes a long way. The custodial staff is very, very happy, and that the schools are immaculate. They're always in pristine condition, and it's been very successful for the mayor of the city of Hialeah Gardens. So I wanted to present it to you and see if it was something that we can work on, or that you'd be interested in taking a look at.
I'm interested in looking at everything. But where would the funding come from though?
The funding would come from the EAB. I know there's other funding that you do in different areas of schools. You supplement other areas, so this would be something new to consider, to perhaps do something different this year with the funding that you have available.
And it's more for the janitorial staff to build morale and.
Right,
School spirits.
the schools have sanitation audits throughout the year. I believe that actually Miami-Dade County Public Schools has like a competition to see, which schools perform better in the area of sanitation. So what Hialeah Gardens is doing is that to help, the custodial staff is very rarely recognized. They do a lot of work, they do a lot of heavy work, very important work in the schools, but sadly it's behind the scenes work. So it's not always showcased or celebrated or appreciated. So they're very short-staffed. It's a very difficult job to do. And so they do these things to boost morale. And the happier the custodians are, the more effort they put into their work, and the more that shows. They've also done curb appeal kind of funding or grants. So they, if the custodians typically, mulch the school, it's something that the town, the city of Hialeah Gardens contributes and, takes that off of their plate per se.
Through the chair, may I ask, what exactly is the program? What is it that they do? Like, how is it handled? How are the gift cards or bonuses? or
Right, they have
whatever
it a little
they do?
differently, because I don't think that they have an education advisory board. So I think that it's something that's directly done through
Through the city.
right, through the mayor's office per se.
So they allocate an X amount, they give it to the school, and then the school designates how they distribute it, or
No,
are there,
I think that
Earmarks,
they
right.
earmark it to certain, right, like, let's say there's a school that's in need of a little curb appeal help, or in need of pressure washing, or there's dirty sidewalks, then the city comes in and supplements that. It's work that it takes off of the custodial staff. It beautifies the school and help with the curb appeal, and at the same time, you know, is kind of like a thank you to the custodians. You don't have to do this, we will help in this area. But they have different programs that they have going on. Basically, you know, all of our schools are short-staffed with regards to custodians. It's hard to find staffing for those positions. So, you know, they're trying to supplement in those areas. We've usually supplemented in the areas of education.
Mhm.
And I know that this is something that we haven't done before, but it caught my attention and I thought that it was worthy of presenting.
You said highly regarded, right?
Highly regarded.
So could we reach out to Hialeah Gardens to see, I mean, I know they have 4 public
Mhm.
schools.
See exactly
Assuming
how
they have, I think they have 2 charter schools.
We'd have to go through
I believe we might have to go.
I think
Just
any,
to see what-
if I have to reach out to,
I would tell you, reach out to the high regarded.
oh, to the city.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
through
yeah.
the city, maybe through the mayor's office and find out how the
City.
program works.
You can also go through the school board member's office, because he's the one that brought it to my attention in our first meeting. He might be able to give us a little more details.
And we
Thank
can
you.
also come.
No, thank you for your time and for your consideration.
Any other public comments?
Not a public comment, but through the chair, I know in previous council meetings, it's been discussed, the Miami Lakes grant manager seeking out grants for committees. I feel like we may be one of the committees that has the most content to apply for grants for. So in order to expand programs like these, I think there has to be grants out there that where we could get some extra funding from. So I don't know if you could follow up, you could speak to our grant manager and see if there's any grants currently out there that she could apply for on behalf of EAB.
So young and so much wisdom.
Right. I don't know if we qualify.
Yeah, I don't know anything about current specifics, but I'll reach out to her and let her know you guys are interested in looking for additional funding.
Any other public comment? See none, moving on, approval of minutes. You have your November 21st minutes. You have some time to review them.
I'll make the motion to be approved the minutes.
We'll have a second.
Do take your time, take your time. I have
Can we
that.
announce an
Oh.
special need advisor for?
Sure.
We like to see if it's possible that, your committee can help, we have a workshop on the 26th for behavior. It's very important that any educator or any therapist or even parents learn how to deal with a situation with a special need child when there's a tantrum or there's something happening and just finding. And so we have a workshop, it's on the 26th, here in the town hall. We have the flyer, we can actually send it to you guys, and then if you can, I don't know if there's a way that we can expedite it in all the schools for. I know they have to go through a system, but maybe.
Do you have a flyer?
Like if you know a teacher knows that someone will be really benefit from this program, it's important because it can happen anytime and if they're not prepared, so it's just something really good share.
Can we request intergovernmental to share to the school for flyer?
Yeah.
When is it? It's January 26th.
And through the chair, this is for parents or teachers?
Parents, teachers, volunteers, anyone that has a relationship with any students.
Coaches,
It
parents.
doesn't mean, I mean, it will be on, I mean, it doesn't have to be like little ones, also, you know, we have universities here and everything, so yes.
It was shared with our staff.
Yes.
How are you? Yes, it was shared with our staff at Bob Graham, one of our teachers, she's new in the EC department. She's new. She's on your board. What is her name? So, yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
She shared to the teachers, but yes, for the parents, it would be great to have it
And
sent out
volunteers.
in the schools and in their social media and
And I
things
think
like
the
that.
volunteers, when you guys have events,
Mhm.
also because it's an inclusive town, so you don't have to know that the kid has a special need. So if you do an event that you have volunteers, I think every volunteer should be trained by, if a situation happens, you know how to handle it.
Thank you.
You're gonna submit that to the intergovernmental,
Thank you.
all right?
I will comment the liaison to that committee.
Yes. Moving on to the approval of minutes, we have a motion, a second,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, staff updates.
No.
Oh, sorry, yes, we are moving to,
90.
9B, which is, a competition for new seal.
Explain it again.
Well, why don't we just let Taylor?
Mr. Taylor.
Go ahead.
Why don't we just move him up?
Floor is yours.
Where should I present? Here?
That's fine.
Yeah, so we can see. 90.
Remind me, I've already seen it. It's a great presentation.
No, it is a seal art competition for a temporary seal for the, just to display. It's an art competition. Good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking the Educational Advisory Board for inviting me today and my friends and family present. Your support is indispensable and of utmost importance. You know that you might have a manatee in your very own backyard. Well, I didn't know until about a year ago. As an animal lover, I have always been inclined toward the creatures that share our planet. As a proud Florida native, I enjoy water activities and adventures during every one of my summers. As a Miami Lakes resident, you would know that cows are a particularly important part of our culture. They are an indispensable part of our community because the Graham family were dairy farmers before they were property developers. Let me tie it all together for you. Manatees are often referred to as sea cows, and they inhabit the numerous lakes and waterways around the lakes. My goal today is to have an art competition throughout all Miami Lakes schools and display the winner's work as a temporary seal outside town hall. I have the blessing and benefit of being homeschooled, but there is one school per square mile in Miami Lakes, meaning that there are 6 schools located in Miami Lakes. We can, with specific guidelines, have participants from each school draw a rendering of the seal, including the manatee. Then the winners of each school will present their renderings to the Miami Lakes Committee, and the final winner's work will be displayed at Town Hall for a month. The temporary seal will include a manatee as a representation of town life and inspire curiosity and desire to learn more about the chubby creature. Interestingly, many residents are unaware of the sea cow's presence in Miami Lakes. The competition will give an opportunity to students and residents alike to further inquire about nature and their surroundings. Students will be able to express their unique sense of creativity and innovation. This can also be an opportunity for the students to finally showcase their work on a community scale. Residents can observe the ingenuity and originality of our Miami Lakes students. Painting mediums will include traditional oil on canvas, oil pastel, watercolors, ink, and digital painting, but AI is prohibited due to its erratic nature and non-original style. I propose that the project will begin as soon as possible and the finalist work will be displayed by Easter. There will be 2 winners for 2 categories, the digital side and the analog side. Their work will also be displayed outside of Town Hall for a month, and they will be personally congratulated by Mayor Manning Sid. I hope that got your attention. I do not have that approved yet, but for those of you who have met Mayor Manning Sid, you would know what an inspirational individual he is. Thank you for your time today. I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have some questions for?
Thank you. No, so my question is, so you pick 2 winners. I'm assuming we have to enlarge it, right? Whatever the joint. So is that something that the EAB you're requesting to pay, or would you guys enlarge it yourself?
Maybe the school could.
Does tech have,
The schools.
do they have those?
I know
big,
they have, it depends on, I mean, how big are we talking? You know, I know our school does have, a printer, you know, capacity. I don't think that that would be an issue. I mean, we could check with the schools to see. I know our school has one, has a good printer. You guys, so, but then maybe we could take the design and then just the K-8s can just, you know, maybe forward their design and have the high schools print them out.
Maybe the high school are.
Exactly.
A little more well equipped
Mhm.
for that.
But we have the digital, the computer digital program at our school, so we do have the equipment. So maybe what we would do is work with the school and even print them out there, you know? Submit the designs.
I like the idea. The art.
I have another question,
Seek out. Right?
sorry. I just like to up, you know, level this up a little bit. Do we have miscellaneous fund?
Yes,
We do.
How much?
no, it's events, really, it's events.
Right.
money, right?
Events. Okay, could we make it like a competition where we could award this, the winning school? I don't know, something.
But how much are you thinking? It's really.
Well, I don't know how much we have. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying,
So
you
we had
know,
$1,000 for events, we used about 150 already.
$100. Buy some pizza,
I got no issue.
donuts. I don't know, I'm just, you know,
First of all, we do have to get it approved first through the council. So it would be even,
Oh, we have to
Right.
approve it first. and then
we have to prove it.
and you have to then run it through also, through Jay County Public Schools as
Right,
well.
right, right.
So that's the timeline schedule that we might have an issue with.
Right, well, I mean, it's not like
Well,
we
but
can
you
just
just-
work with it, yeah, we can, I think it's not, you know, like the project is gonna die if we don't do it next month.
Right, I mean, you said you're gonna suggest a date.
Welcome to government
and
bureaucracy, and things take a while, okay?
How do you feel about it?
Doesn't mean it's not gonna happen, but you gotta just work with us, and then it's a learning curve for you, but you know, just come to see that it can be done.
Jessica, you feel like the K through 8 will be on board with it?
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
Through the chair, I think that's some alterations to the project. Instead of separating the categories by digital and analog, I think it would make much more sense to separate by grade level. So perhaps we could do K through 8
Yeah, I wasn't
and
sure.
then 9 through 12. I think, you know, a sixth grader is not gonna make the same quality of work as a senior in high school.
I don't want my concern.
Oh, maybe we can follow through with the grants into the banner and the art competition every year as well. Maybe we can get information of how they do it and.
Your name was again, I'm sorry?
What's
Taylor?
yours?
Taylor Monroe,
Yours.
MONRO.
Taylor, can you email Kyle that layout that you have for the competition, so we could go over it in the proposal? As far as the EAB, I mean, we'll take it up as a vote to, you know.
Well, one thing about that is,
We have to make a
motion.
motion.
any other questions? Do
Any
you have
other
anybody else
questions?
on the Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, we're just, at this point, voting, I think, just to entertain the idea. Logistics can then be kind of ironed out
$100, we
afterwards.
can discuss it later,
Mhm.
once we go through our whole thing.
Exactly.
So I'll make the motion that we support the event and that we sponsor it, yeah, we have to sponsor it.
Mhm.
All second, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Good enough, sir, we should go to
we-
council, we'll get that
Yeah.
approved.
Right, go to council, get that approved, get with Isle, as much as information as you can to her. I think it's a great idea. We love our cows here, but I love to see cows as well. You know, they are protected species. You have them in your backyard? Those pictures are the ones in your backyard? Oh, those are good.
Just as a reminder, you
We'll
need
go-
to bring a memo to the committee next, whenever you guys have a next meeting, that you guys can vote on it, to make sure that that memo then goes to council.
Well, we voted on it now, we gotta go to council.
But the memo needs to be agreed upon with all the details.
Mhm.
I believe the council approved the,
Well, the council sent it back to us,
right,
so that's why I don't see the council objecting to us, they're the ones sent it.
Is it just a procedural thing that we have to do this?
Well, normally you can put the, but if you know, then I agree with that.
the council suggested
So we don't.
the competition and just suggest
We
that
just
Taylor do
decided.
it through the EAB.
Okay, perfect.
And
You don't need to go to council again. Beautiful. One less step. So I'm assuming next month, we will be going over logistics of the event. You're welcome to join us at next month's meeting if you want to come by. I will tell you though, realistically, I don't know if Easter, because it's April,
Yeah, I don't know.
but you know, but maybe by May, we could have like the date, you know, we gotta give the school some time too,
Mhm.
so.
The last day of school is June,
8th or 9th.
8th or 9th, I believe.
No, but we should have like a final thing by May, right? Because
Yeah, May should be fine.
then we have to coordinate with town when do they want to present it or.
Yeah, it's just that I think she's looking at, we run up right against the end of
The end of
school.
school year.
Yeah, it's the 8th.
So it's January. Because I also has to contact intergovernmental,
Affairs, that's not what.
and that's really where that they will get rid of. That's where it gets, it takes a little bit.
Yeah.
It's government.
Yeah.
It happens, you know, you have to go through all the different channels.
But we
So
can,
maybe by March, we should at least have some kind of an answer.
From intergovernmental,
Yeah,
we're gonna have an answer like February.
well, we hope.
Well, it's just nag.
No, we will.
Yeah, but all you
Yeah,
really need to do, then we can move it up, but yeah,
yeah.
but you know, there's testing and there's all that, that's also.
I think
But
that's
the
the
fucking-
No, I know, testing, tell me,
The-
testing the whole thing.
the district, school board member. He, as far as I know, he wants to be directly also, advised. So his, assistant, if things might go faster, if you kind of do both. Like, it doesn't hurt to CC them, because it might get processed a little quicker. I know he has a different way of doing things, so. A little more personal. So maybe that'll help. Expedite stuff. 'Cause I know sometimes we've sent things into and it's just been sitting there. Sometimes because they're so busy.
And just to be clear, intergovernmental, really just to bring this idea to all the schools.
Right, they're the ones that have to send
Right, they're the ones that-
And they would have to go through them.
It's just a procedural thing.
Thank you, Taylor, again. It was a great presentation.
And probably the regional director as well, please. So once they pass it down. it's-
Yeah, to all,
They're
right,
all aware.
exactly. Everybody that's involved.
Through the chair, when's the next quarterly principal meeting? Is that February? I think it's not. Because if they're here in February.
So we're in March.
Yeah, they do, they want to March. Didn't we just sound like in October? September.
Well, yeah, it's been a few months.
They'll be coming up soon.
Moving on, stuff update, staff updates. You did get an email from your checker.
So you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We did done with the meeting as well, so if you wanted to be here with it.
Thank you.
No, I just wanted to be just sitting there. I didn't want to, like,
Can I take email of whoever he needs to send it to?
Yes.
Taylor's dad. Okay. What's your name, please?
It's last name Pastora. Double A at the end. At Miami Lakes. FL.gov. And if you want, I can send you an email so you have it.
Fantastic. Yes, if you could send it to Monroy, MONROY, Taylor, TAY, LOR, at Yahoo. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Let me know. You have a whole family, your whole family came out, that's good. Right? You're like, oh, yeah.
It's to the state.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Most Miami Lakes residents, by the way.
Sorry?
Most of these are
Oh,
Miami
really?
Lakes residents.
Oh, okay, good. Take care, have a good day.
It's the same with the meeting, you know, like I didn't want to do that.
Continuing with the agenda, yeah, as I was saying, you got an email for the check presentation coming up in, Isle.
29th, right?
29th.
I know the last, well, the last Friday, what was that?
Want to have it?
Yes.
I know you have it, so we are up to date with that.
That's, well, that's for
Miami
Miami Lakes Educational. The last one will be HMO for that
Do we
one.
have a date for that? Or we don't have a date?
Yeah. Do you have any other staff updates for us?
Yes, I have a couple of things. Tomorrow, just an FYI, tomorrow you will be receiving an update of committee rules that were approved by council yesterday. I have a couple updates, but they pertain to these agenda items, so I'll just wait for that. And then I did want to ask you guys to please provide me with any meeting dates of when you'd like to invite principals, so we can start calendaring them.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. I believe I sent this out last month, but just as a reminder, there is a committee reporting schedule of when the committees need to go to council. So please calendar yourselves accordingly for those, because remember that the memo needs to be approved by the committee first. So you need to give yourselves time for the memo and be added to the agenda.
It's on February.
I have copies here.
Do you want us to approve a memo today?
No.
Schedule.
That's why I like-
Memos that you have.
Copies here.
Just to keep it in mind, that it's coming up.
It's twice a year, so. Did you not check?
But the next one is their optional, and then that's the final.
Is December.
We're going to May, but we need to be before we can.
Yeah, that's just, let's say for you don't have any requests the entire year,
Yeah.
you do still have to report on your updates on what the committee is doing on those days.
Wow, appreciate that. Moving on, student member update. Calendar dates, we don't have. Calendars.
Nothing yet.
So we still were
Oh,
getting.
yes, we do have, the annual award of excellence.
No, for the principal. you were
Like, if
saying-
you want me to start letting principals out,
Oh,
I'm sure
yes,
their
yes,
calendar gets busy, so.
Oh, we have already put a date for the event, so.
For
Your
the-
calendar days, when is, the award?
No.
No, she's talking
When
about the
You
principal.
guys normally invite them.
Oh,
to-
yeah.
right.
The principal.
Principals would be September?
Like, I know we're gonna go into testing now, and they're gonna go crazy, and I think
Oh,
the
he's a
purpose.
problem.
We usually do it in May. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and no, you're right, no, you're right,
We
but
did
the
it in
purpose
May.
of having a student rep is. To
To
really
alleviate
interact
that.
and, I mean, I'll be okay with May end of the year, and maybe even,
Right.
I don't think that's.
I
Oh,
just
they're
wanted to
gonna-
confirm if it was coming up, so
I
let's
prefer at the end of the year, get a,
maybe May.
recap of the whole year.
May would be better.
So I prepared a little report for you guys. Let the record reflect that I handed board members documents and that will be entered into the record. A couple of things, an amendment to my report. First part, Barbara Goldman. The report was given to me a little bit ago, so I'll be doing that one orally, as it was after I sent the packets already. So from Barbara Goldman, they've been working on various events to help out the community, toy drives through NHS, a dodgeball tournament for a key club. The senior class has been working on ticket sales for their breakfast, over 10 buses, of kids going. So that's a huge success, as well as we're working on senior superlatives. Key Club is planning Gator Talent Show to give back to a local Kiwanis organization. Model UN, they are planning their own Model UN competition called Gatorman. And then they are participating in a mock trial competition that's February 24th. I believe last year they placed second in MDCPS, so we hope that the Gators do well this year and perform high up there. Another thing that wasn't in the report, but I do know Barbara Goldman has been doing, is they hosted a mock trial competition for middle schools in the area. And I'll get into that a little bit now. Bob Graham Education Center, they have a Best Buddies program happening every month, where NJHS students spend time with ASD classes and help students with special needs. They have a tutoring program where middle school students help the younger kids for homework after school. I thought that was pretty awesome. Attendance incentives. They have an ice cream social for those who attend school. Legal studies team got first place in the mock trial competition that was posted by Barbara Goldman. And just some more events there. I know they raised supplies for homeless shelter and foster homes. Miami Lakes Middle School, they melted plastic cups to make Christmas ornaments, this overall activities. They donated socks to Nicholas Children's Cardiac Intensive Care Unit. In this event that give back to the community, they did just complete FAST and PM2, which is the second phase of the newly adopted state testing. So that's Miami Lakes Middle School. Miami Lakes Educational Center. I know Winter Academy Games on January 20th. So next week it's a competition of both academic and athletic challenges among students representative of each academy. So that's actually pretty cool. And then they're doing initiatives for recruitment, social events. They're preparing for their Black History Month celebrations, senior breakfast, and their grade level trips. Community service, they're doing beautification projects, a blood drive, and a clothing and shoe drive. So HML, I'll be doing that report orally. We did get a grant from the Miami Lakes Town Foundation to develop a model UN competition as well. We have several middle schools signed up, and that will be taking place April 21st or 22nd. I believe it's a Saturday. And we'll be having middle schools come out to HML. We have several competitions that we're going to be participating in for several different programs. I know the Model UN team is going to Gainesville soon. Community service. There's a lot going on. We're planning a talent show as well, actually. So that was fun. And overall, we're just working on recruitment, beautification, things like that, and keeping up our programs. One of our teachers was named a finalist as Teacher of the Year for the North Region. So I know the Teacher of the Year site visit is next week. So hopefully, Ms. Radis, she's in our SPED department, she does well, and she can move on to the next level. So just some minor updates on HML. MOKA, I've been in contact with their activities director. I did not hear back, so I'll report on them in February. I did want to invite you guys to an event that's coming up on March 2nd. It's an event hosted by my organization, but it's partially funded by the Miami Lakes Town Foundation, and it's about education. So I thought that EAB should be invited. It's a civics competition between high schools in the area. We currently have over 12 high schools signed up. 4 of those will progress to the final round, which will be on Miami-Dade College. If it's a flyer of the event you see. HML and Barbara Bowman are both signed up. Miami Lakes Educational Center was reached out to several times, but they did not register. But we have a bunch of other high schools in the Hialeah, all the way to Miami Art Studio, Jose Marti, Mass. So from all over, and it's going to be a competition about civics. So you are all invited to attend. That's my report for today. Any questions?
I would like to add something. I'm gonna have a proud mom/teacher moment, faculty member moment. Miami Lakes Educational Center was featured yesterday on the news on
I
NBC
saw you
6.
shared that. Yeah.
Yes, we did have NBC 6 go out there and visit the school, and they showcased some of the different programs that we have. So we were very excited to see that we made the evening news, and that the school, and not to mention the town itself, because carries a town name, right, Miami Lakes, was showcased and highlighted in such a positive manner. So I did post it. I know it's available. I don't know if maybe the town can post it because it is one of our local schools. I think it would be great to kind of, highlight some of the benefits and some of the wonderful things that our local public schools have. One of the gems it's located right here in our backyard. So I'd like to see if maybe the town can do, if they can share that video. I don't know.
It was on where exactly?
NBC 6. I can send you the link if you want.
I'll look it up if I can find it on the.
All right, that was it.
All right, great. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. The purpose of, the schools reporting to you, it's not only like they're pretty fuzzy, whatever. They're supposed to be reporting things that also, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can kind of relay that to them and tell them, listen, this is all great, but we also want to know because not everything's perfect.
Also tell us what their needs are.
Yeah,
Tell them what their-
not everything's perfect.
Yeah.
There are some things that maybe need tweaking. Maybe there's some things, like when you do a climate survey, or you do something like that,
This
it's
is all
not
great.
all-
It is.
Yeah. But like if they can give you a little bit, yeah. more
I'll relay that to
insight
them.
on the real things, that are going on.
I'll relay that to them. None of them have mentioned any
Yeah.
so far,
None
but
of
I'll
them
let them
mentioned-
know that this is an honest space and that. they
Right,
can share
right,
whatever they would like with
exactly.
me.
Like if the students feel that there's something, because these are the students, so if they feel that there's something that they need or something that the students feel could be added to, their-
Start with lunch, 'cause that's the answer. Ask them, do you guys enjoy lunch? If they tell you yeah, then I'll be honest.
They're probably gonna
That information with the administrators, was it?
vary. So the problem is the following,
You're not gonna get.
Yeah, it's.
I
meant to
should be
be their
meeting with
student
students.
council.
student council, a student council at times has not been receptive to me, which is when I go to the activities director and say, hey, I need updates. I emailed your student council president, and then the activities director sometimes will provide bullets. Barbara Goldman was
Right,
provided
it's
by the
event.
student. It does vary based on school. I try to get the students. For example, if I had a student government president from school, I emailed them twice, no answer. Activities director, hey, she sent me a head bullet.
So the
But-
president of the student councils are not getting back to you, even in high school?
In high school, yes,
But the ones in
and middle school, no, so that's why I even asked, Bob Graham,
Mhm.
the other day, I'm like, hey, I asked one of the assistant principals, do you guys have a student council? He said, yes, this is the person, so I'm gonna try to relay that for them. But starting next month, I'll try to get more negatives and.
I mean.
Well,
they're
you're not
all-
playing there.
More concern.
Report.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying, you're not, if you're going, in all honesty, if you're gonna go to an administrator. or
Of course.
And if you're gonna do an activities director, it's only gonna make sense that they're gonna give you a list
All
of
the
the
activities.
activities, that's what they're gonna give you, but I.
Yeah, the students have other, they have their way of seeing. how-
I have offered to meet with.
Well, we wanted their point of view.
I wanna at least make it a focus that one time a year, I actually try to go into the
To
school
meet, yeah.
and meet with
in
them,
person.
so Miami Lakes. K-8 Center, they're gonna invite me to their next meeting,
Okay.
so I'll try to meet with
Okay.
the kids in person. PTA parent.
No. But right,
Separate
so you bring in one principal, nobody can tell us. You know, they're pretty-
Yeah, this is, yeah, that's why it sounded like a.
Some interesting things that the Winter Academy gave, that sounds very interesting.
That's creative.
That's great. I would like to see that maybe go beyond just one school, perhaps, all the other schools. That'd be nice.
I can let you know how it goes.
This is the first year?
It is, I mean, it should
And
have
we
done.
could do
for
a
pandemic.
yearly, competition between the schools, and we have a trophy, and each school takes.
Yeah, but no, you're getting people out and field trips and this and busing.
Okay, moving on. Thank you, Maritza, for that student update. Old business. The grant scholarships, they are, I know some information was updated on the form that the grants had an issue
Yes,
with.
the name of
The name of the scholarship that was changed. Is that is up and running already?
it's live, the Miami Laker has been made aware. Press releases on our website. And then. The graphics advertising this will go, through our social media platforms. Those are spread out between Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
But it's at the application's out already?
Yes, it's on our website, it's
But we don't
live.
have any applicants yet.
No, we don't have any.
Can we send this off to,
It has been sent, but I haven't gotten confirmation yet. And then if any of you want to look at the applications, there's some copies there as well. But I think I also sent it to you.
Did the application?
perfect. Moving on to Old Business Beach, school showcase. We did decide on a date. It was the only thing we had in conflict, really. We do have to create a subcommittee at some point.
I'm sorry, through the chair, I think we have a public comment on the school showcase. Are you gonna do that now or
Do
after?
you have a phone comment?
Well, she wants a comment at this point.
You can present first and then I'll listen and,
No, go ahead.
no, I just had a question on what had happened with the school showcase, because I never heard back from anyone and I never, like, we were good to go, postponed through the hurricane because of the hurricane or potential hurricane. And I never heard back. I corresponded with Isle a few times via email, but I never received, I don't know if anyone reached out to Miami-Dade County Public Schools. To the individuals that met with us to put this together. I have no idea what happened.
They were made aware when it was like canceled for that day, but that's the last communication that I staff have had.
So we never communicated with them again. So that was my concern, that it kind of like fell like through the cracks, and they were very gracious when they met with us and very,
Actually, communicate.
No, wait. So let's bring it all up and put it back on the table, right? So the event was scheduled twice, right? First time was in September, I believe. The second time it was,
November.
November, right? Okay. So we scheduled it. I know you came to a meeting, we rescheduled, something came up, I don't know how, all of a sudden we got like new dates, and that was the big debate that we had, whether the 10th, whether the 8th, whether whatever. So we had a big debate as to questions, because it was the day before a holiday and all those sort of things. The hurricane did come, all right, and I'm gonna put it out in the open, guys. I think we might have violated sunshine law by doing the way we did it. So it was like 2, 3 o'clock, whatever, the day before, everything was canceled, right? Broward had canceled schools, we were in the flood watch or something like that, flood warning. And I sent out a text to you all stating, what should we do? Okay, the reply from all was cancel, right? Except Mr. Acosta, who's a non-voting member, we kept saying, no, postpone. Everybody else said cancel. So I took it as a cancel, I spoke to Isle, and I said, look, as a board, I think we're gonna cancel, right? Now, I will say, is I know the proper way, maybe should have gone with you. My way of thinking, it was almost 5 o'clock, I knew town was gonna close down. And
That was an emergency.
I know emails
Bottom
happen,
line,
and
it's
when
an
emails
emergency.
happen, half of us don't reply to them. So things happen. So the whole thing about the canceling, so my way of seeing it, when we discussed that at the 10th, was debate that in November, all the schools are gonna start to do their own events, right? As it is, I personally heard from multiple principals saying we have so many things going on. You know, even this event, I think it wasn't as well received by the principals as I expected to be received, okay?
Right, and remember you mentioning that there was like a whole issue of not wanting to play together, you know?
Correct.
Yeah, I remember that, because I came in, I missed that part of the discussion, and that's,
So
when I asked, that's what was said.
Part of the discussion, and even in our meetings with the principals, we heard it, as the principal, we know where our kids are, everybody felt like Goldman's gonna be taking their kids, and it's not gonna be a fair playing game. And that's why I knew the days that Goldman was gonna have the event, I said it, that's why at the beginning, I was supposed to push it too far back. So once all the schools started their own things, doing their own events, I don't see the point of holding it at this point. That's my opinion, and listen, we'll take a vote whether you guys wanna reschedule it. We did put a lot of time and effort into it. I personally spent resources in creating the flyers. You provided the color ones that we get to the schools. I created black and white ones to get to all that daycares. We have people drive out to daycares and drop flyers to daycares, because the thought of the case where are we gonna get our population from, right?
We're gonna get the children.
The view of the middle school was the case, they're not gonna give us kids, they're not gonna wanna bring kids for us to take their kids. And then the high schools were the argument was, Goma's gonna take everybody. You know, they have a unfair advantage, they're gonna take our kids. So once all the principals to me are not on the same page, I don't think this is a good event. I do remember right before we had to decide, or a few days before, I think I texted you or I emailed you. And there was only like 30 some families that had signed up. So I figured 6 schools, we're bringing all these people. For 30 some 40 families, that's not even, what, 5, 6 families per school. So I don't think it was a well-received event by the schools. I don't think, I'm not gonna say whether we advertised it correctly, I think we did, we even paid to post it on Instagram, you know, we did everything we could, we created the flyers, we went out to the schools. But to hold an event for that, just for holding it, I mean, I don't think that's what we should really.
It seemed like also some of the members that had to be present at the showcase just didn't feel comfortable being in that competition with other schools as well. You know, it felt like a hostile territory for them.
Well, if I could speak for Bob,
Right, that's
she was ready to go.
Mhm. So was
She
it.
kept asking me over and over, are we doing it? Or in fact, we're setting up, we have everybody ready. So my school was ready to go. Bob Graham
Well,
was,
My school was.
you know,
I heard
I-
from several schools
she
that were
didn't
ready
say
to go.
anything. She didn't say that she felt like there was competition. She She was actually, they were eager, they were ready, they had their presentation, ready to go. She was texting me, are we doing this? The same, like we were doing to each other. So she never, I never heard a pushback from them. I don't know what the rules were.
Anything that the superintendent's office has done an event, right? And anything that the region says they were doing this, and I know why they're doing it, we're asking to do it, the principals are not gonna see it. And the principals are gonna be here, right? So Moritz is gonna sit here and argue with me until he's blue in the face that HML was ready to go. I assure you HML did not want to be.
HML was ready to go.
But I'm not saying
I
they were not
spoke to them
ready.
directly.
I'm not saying they were ready. They were not ready. Your council members, you can talk to them and they will tell you, oh, we're ready.
I spoke to a personal friend, as a personal friend.
No. And
not as a
listen,
council.
your personal friend is my personal friend,
Exactly,
right?
so.
So, but I know they were ready. The region said, you're doing the event. We're doing this event. EAB once requested, blah, 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 superintendent's gonna be there.
Mhm.
The board member was gonna be there. Believe me, I spoke to the board member's office multiple times. But
So
did
if
they
I
really,
may-
what I'm saying is, did they really wanna do it? That's what I'm saying.
If I may interject, as an elected official,
Right.
we put a lot of time and energy into this. We visited the region, the district offices downtown. We spoke to our local region. We spoke to the superintendent's office. We spoke to the school board member. We deployed hours and resources, and I understand that perhaps their turnout wasn't necessarily what we wanted to see. I had no problem with postponing due to a storm. A natural disaster is out of our hands, and in those cases, I'm not even concerned with sunshine, right? If it happened via text, it's an emergency.
Right.
Those things happen. I'm not concerned with that. What did upset me, and I'll be completely honest, was that it was abandoned. And when you have a school board member that's attending an event and it's on his calendar, and you have the superintendent of schools that has committed to attend this event, as a courtesy to the town of Miami-Lakes and as a courtesy to all of us that know him personally, I felt like it wasn't followed through properly. They're still sitting there wondering what happened, because no one has ever reached out to the district. No one ever reached out to the
No.
individuals that we met with.
I
No one ever reached out to me.
I disagree with that because I personally spoke to Roger and I told him the event is being canceled. So I don't know. And I'll speak to Roger again tomorrow. I'll give him a call again tomorrow. We'll have that discussion. But yes.
Those are not personal conversations that should be had. Those are email communications with the Department of Intergovernmental Affairs with myself as a courtesy, because I was working on this project alongside with all of you. I communicated with Isles several times because I felt like it had just been just dropped. Perhaps you had personal conversations with some individuals,
Right.
but as a group, as a board, that was never communicated to the group of individuals that was spearheading this at the district. There were individuals, Mario was there with me. There were individuals from several departments, individuals that graciously met with us, listened to what we had planned for our school showcase. It wasn't meant to be a competition by
No,
any
no,
means.
absolutely. That
It
not
was
the
meant
intent.
to simply be a fair where the schools can present what's wonderful about each and every school. The superintendent was on board, the district was on board. If there was a school that didn't want to participate, they were more than welcome not to participate. I didn't hear that from any particular school, but I did feel that the way that it was pushed to the side, or the way that it was let go, was unprofessional, discourteous to the school district, discourteous to myself, at least an email. Because you can have a personal conversation with someone that you know at a school. I know that you work at schools and you can have a personal conversation, but the rest of the individuals that are working on the project, these are not just people that open their doors to just anybody. They were very gracious. They actually met with us the day of the storm. So to me, I just felt like it wasn't followed through. I know that I communicated with Isle 2 or 3 times until I gave up, because I just couldn't understand what had happened.
So I'm gonna say it again, and I hope, and again, and the point is not to. Well, I mean, I don't agree with your view, but that's okay. We notified Isle, the event is being canceled, right? I'm assuming now notified the school board, right? And
Yeah.
intergovernmental affairs.
Governmental affairs, and I'll read it verbatim just so you guys, because maybe, I don't know where the disagreement is of what happened.
It's just-
But based on that, my emails, and this was copied and pasted to different individuals, including principals, intergovernmental affairs, which who I communicate with is more, Mr. Torres and Ms. Montaner. Good afternoon. Please note that the school showcase event has been canceled due to inclement weather. And that is the last communication that they've heard.
Okay,
In
so-
regards to this.
Right, that was
And I-
due to inclement weather.
Yes, that was the,
Right, so after that, it was never revisited, it was never picked up. There was a meeting in this room that I watched.
Right.
I watched live and it was just said, well, it's canceled, but is it postponed or is it canceled? It's canceled,
So-
we're just not gonna do it. There was no
The
vote,
mistake is right.
and that communication was never extended to myself. And it was never extended
So let's take a vote.
to anyone, that's not the point.
Before we take a vote, I'd
The
like to,
point
make-
is not,
before we do that. Sorry, no, you go ahead.
no, and the point is not whether you wanna continue with it now, or whether you are gonna cancel it now. The point is that there's a process of individuals that are deployed to put these things together.
Right.
And that, just like we communicate, when the flyer was put together, we sent it to Ms. Montaner, we communicated via email. We are all in the same email thread and we're working towards getting this project underway because we try to use our resources and ask for help when we are putting projects underway. That's the same line of communication that you have to use when something is canceled.
I was under the impression that since we canceled it, it was, we had canceled the event also due to the fact of the storm. And we had a time sensitive on the event because we didn't want it to conflict with the rest of the schools doing their shows as well. So once the schools have their own shows, there was no point for us to continue with the event to a previous year.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you having canceled it indefinitely. What I disagree with or what I'm a little
Is
peeved
the
about
communication of
is the
how.
lack of communication because you were communicating openly and then all of a sudden you never communicated with me again. It
We
stopped.
on the record, we had the information from the district. The district was trying to go back and forth, but we canceled, we decided to cancel. I was under the impression, like I said, that the principals weren't too excited about the event. Whether they say they are or not, that's a different story. My impression, okay, was that they weren't too ecstatic about having the event. They were they going to do it? Absolutely. They're gonna have to do it because it's part of their job, but were they excited about it? Is it something they wanted to do? I felt it wasn't. So I
They're not
would.
excited about coming here every 3 months to meet with us either, but they do it.
Exactly.
Many people are not excited to do.
Yeah, exactly. So personally, we didn't think we wanted to continue with the event. At this point, they were gonna have their own, showcases. And we canceled at the point. I personally didn't feel we needed to continue with anything on the event since it was canceled. I do apologize for the lack of communication with you that we didn't continue with the showcase. I do agree with, that was, that communication was not done properly. I know it was an emergency, the hurricane. We did work hard on it. But at that point, we didn't see, the point to do it.
If I may, I'm sorry, thank you. Okay. Moving forward. Okay. The showcase itself, okay, and let's talk logistics and let's talk numbers. Let's talk the Dade County Public School System. Enrollment at the schools is down. Fact. Okay, a school showcase is going to, number one, highlight the schools that we have in our communities in the hopes that we can hopefully attract other people, other students to these schools, maybe even through word of mouth. Okay. Recruitment and showcases aren't just established at one particular time of the year. They are ongoing. Those efforts are ongoing. We as a community, if we have the opportunity, and if we have, the approval through district, and we have these individuals come to our town to highlight and showcase our schools, I think it's an opportunity that we should capitalize on. The same way we had Miami Lakes Educational Center, highlighted yesterday in the news. Guess what? That makes the town look good, okay? If we showcase the best of the best, even if it's just to 30 families, word can get out. We know we've had these events for many years. We're never going to get people standing outside, busting the door down, waiting to get in. Not going to happen, okay? But, and when we were talking about that, the cancellation, yes, it was cancellation due to the inclement weather. no reason why we couldn't or shouldn't reschedule. Let's highlight these schools. You know, it's not a competition. It's not about who we can recruit at this point. And if we understand the logistics and we understand the business component of this, you lose kids, you lose positions at the schools. You will lose teachers, you will lose administrators, you will lose custodians, you will lose. The last thing that we want are these buildings to sit empty. So if we have an opportunity to highlight and showcase the schools within our community, let's do it. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. There's a lot of great things that our local schools have. Why not show it? So that's just my 2 cents.
So nobody, I'll assure you that nobody wanted this event to go on more than I did, right? I was the one that for 3 years I've been arguing, fighting, for this event, okay? I will say again, I personally spent resources trying to make flyers. I called in favors to drop flyers at daycares. I did everything I could to make sure, right? We as a board, we even paid out of our funds, remember we did, to even go 5 miles outside the town. Enrollment this year is not down, it's up. Again, we know why it's up. It's not the ideal way, but it is up, right? But enrollment is up this year. I don't think it's gonna stay up forever.
Not enough schools.
No, I will tell you, go talk to Goldman that, you know,
You're one
it's
school.
3,000, right?
Five
What I'm
schools.
saying, go talk to Miami-Dade's enrollment.
No, it is, ours is, we
Remember
they
Charlie
get tripling
Lee?
every day.
Well,
Every day they come in.
That they're coming in, right? So enrollment, but what I'm saying is,
Not that way, but.
I want, well,
Uh-huh.
I want the schools to showcase, I've always wanted, I've always said it.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's just do it.
No, wait.
Can we get a Motion on the table already?
I think we should move forward.
I just wanna make sure that we do it the right. Okay. And that was for families or? Well, you know, at that point, we saw what we had, right? A couple of days before the actual event, there was no appetite for it.
Okay.
So, and.
Not only
it's
that,
just-
I'm
it's just-
sorry to
Okay,
interrupt,
the
but not
PR
only that, we're forgetting the fact that we need to find sponsors, we need to find money. We don't have enough money in the budget. And if you're gonna be spending money on an event that's really not gonna have participation, then what's the point of having the event and spending the time, the work and the money?
But weren't we
Makes
spending
no
the
sense.
money already though? Were we gonna spend the money on the November? What was it,
We
12th?
spent $150.
Exactly.
But were we gonna
Now
spend,
we
in
would
other
have
words,
to start.
are we gonna spend more?
Well, you
I
have
mean,
to
we're-
advertise,
okay.
you would have to go back to the logistics and the meetings.
Okay, but is it not worth it to highlight? That's part of.
I think
what
at
we're
this
supposed
point
to
of the
do as an
year,
MB.
I just think at this point of the year, it's not, if we're gonna revisit it again in August or July in the summer.
By the time people are registered, I think recruitment is ongoing, my personal opinion, but I guess we can put it up to a vote. So,
So why don't you make a motion and
yeah, make the motion to then revisit establishing a date for a new showcase. Having I guess our community liaison reach out to the school districts. And try to establish a date that would be feasible for all. Maybe they can propose some dates for this school year.
May I? What was it that prompted you to think that the administrators didn't want to do it? And how do we know that that's not gonna happen again?
that they did not want to do it, what prompted me with them? That's the
Like, what gave
question,
you,
right?
what, did they directly tell you that they didn't wanna do it
So.
at that moment
Yeah,
or indefinitely?
No, it's a general feeling, so you recall that meeting, and I think I'm emotional with it, then we'll come back.
I know, no worries, no worries. I know.
I'm sorry, I just want
So,
you to.
you know, if you notice the principal's meeting, okay? You have one principal saying, I know where my kids are. Another principal saying, give me the data where the kids are. You know what I mean? If you recall, I gave a chance at that moment to say, if we don't want to hold the event, right? We don't have to. I recall you standing back there saying, we have a meeting with the superintendent, right? You invited here, you guys did all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You're getting the personal view now from talking to principals. Like originally, we're gonna put like a little podium, they're gonna give a little presentation, we're gonna do. Principals felt that that's not gonna be very well received by the people, because when the KA is presenting, parents are talking to the high school.
Well, that's what I said. I didn't like the podium idea.
Right, but you said it with some principals.
Like a job fair.
some principals-
That's what I want.
So let's do the job fair, but then I heard from other principals saying, hey,
Everybody's gonna be in one corner.
in one quarter, you know, everybody, the high school especially, they're gonna be in the Goldman corner. So you start hearing these things, right? And
Right, but
then.
that's not enough, like, that's just hearsay, that's not enough to cancel an event.
No, I'm not saying-
Miami Dade
no,
Education
no,
Center
no.
is a wonderful school.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like this.
Absolutely, I got no problem with
It
that.
can't be the same woman.
And they would be, the superintendent tells us to be, yeah, they will be in the same room, I assure you that. But again, I just don't want to force anything down on any, you know, if they feel, if they feel that they could do a better, you know.
So if you vote on it again, and I'm sorry, Mrs. Wilson, I didn't mean to interrupt your motion.
It's
But
okay.
if they didn't want to do it once, what makes you think that they're going to want to do it again? Or is it gonna be the same vibe?
Yeah, I think. it's
There's
the
gonna
same
be,
vibe.
the vibe is gonna be the same. If the superintendent tells them they're going to do it, they're going to do it. Whether they want to or not, that's the vibe they're gonna get. They're gonna come to the meeting and say,
Well,
yes,
we
we're
presented this to the,
correct.
we presented this to Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
But the way, the perception of what the principals are at. I would have liked to present it to the principals and have them tell us truthfully whether they want to or not. Whether they tell us that, they're not gonna tell us
But
that.
it doesn't matter if they
It
want
doesn't
to or
matter.
not.
I agree with you.
I mean, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here. I
But
do
they
things
are the
that I
ones that are
wanna do.
presenting, no?
They will.
Everybody does things that they don't want to do in their job.
Mhm.
But like I said, it's like a job fair, like I've said from the beginning how I wanted it. Just everybody out there, you visit the tables, you pick up their, whatever they have, you see what they have to offer. And then you just, I mean, they could take it home, peruse it if they want, throw it away, whatever it is.
But don't they do
But
that
it's-
very, the Peter Parrish showcase? Don't they do
I,
that?
where's the Peter Pan show?
Oh, I've seen.
I've never
Like
been to
gold
one,
medal with tables put
To the
together.
chair, Sergeant, I'm gonna have to excuse myself. I do.
Yeah,
you know, the-
you're not in the middle of the debate. Yeah, sure.
I felt a little, I placed a comment on this as a non-voting member, but I do want to say that I think that if we promote the mentality in which public schools are competing for students, I think it's a very unhealthy mentality in the sense that public schools should not have to be competing in the way they are. I mean, these are not collegiate universities, we're public high schools. And when I did meet with the new board member at HMO, the first concern that I expressed was the competition that's been created between high schools and how that is negatively affecting schools like HML, which is constantly overlooked and is constantly forced to compete. Compete for what? For the same students in the same district, for the same dollars, and make no sense. So those are just my comments. HML, I do not know what my principal feelings were. I do know that I was instructed by my activities director to make a presentation and to gather kids together to attend and present on behalf of HML. And that is, I like the idea of postponing it just because I feel like we shouldn't have passed up on an opportunity
Right.
to host an event with the superintendent of schools.
You're just showing what you have.
Exactly.
Right, and I didn't want to, I feel that I give the town, if we have an opportunity to do something with the leader of our public school system, I think that's an opportunity we take, and those are just my sentiments, but I wish you guys luck.
And then
Thank you.
we're-
So not gonna happen.
Numbers.
Such a waste.
I felt it should have been just a showcase from the beginning, not a podium, not a presentation with the TV behind them or each school just does their.
Like a job.
I've said it from the beginning. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. That's it.
So we have a motion.
That's all I wanted.
So you know what, I want to second the motion, so we can take a vote and discuss dates if you guys want.
Emily, call roll.
No, wait, so let's discuss it, right? I mean,
Discuss it.
give everybody a chance, anybody,
Did you discuss it?
We need to vote, that's it, let's vote.
but, so we're voting on whether to have the event this year, this school year. Okay, that's.
We're voting on whether to have it still for this year, is what we're saying.
For this school, so then we'd have two events coming up at the end of the year.
What's the second one?
The,
Take your vote.
No,
so the vote is to
not to this year.
revisit.
This year.
Yeah, you take this. Hector,
No,
Daleen,
No, not this year.
Jessica?
We have no time.
Mhm.
There's no time, there's no money.
That is the issue.
Yes.
These awards of excellence is May 11th.
All right,
And then
so
just
then
do
I
a
make another
motion.
motion, for Isle to please contact, or maybe you can give a direction, if you can contact the, school board and let them know that it has permanently been canceled.
For
And
this
that
year.
if
this
they're-
school
for this
year.
For this
year,
year.
And that is not being rescheduled.
And I know we need to move on.
So
but-
that
but-
we have that communication, we finish, we finalize this issue.
And I want to say one last thing, and I know we need to move to the topic. Because I know you said something about that you were not contacted and the whole thing, so. I don't know procedurally how that's supposed to go, right? The moment that it was canceled, I know we notified our liaison, I'm not, listen, I think she's the best, we've had our. We have a great liaison, she communicates whatever, you know, I know you said, you mentioned Torres and intergovernmental. And I don't know who else you mentioned. You know, whether you were included in the email or not, I do not know.
No,
Our
she
intelligence
was
officer-
included in that email. What we didn't, what the lack of communication is, that she's referring to, is that we did not, as I said, we did not continue it. We did not
We
say,
left the
okay,
issue
we
hanging.
left it there. We left it there. We didn't say we're gonna postpone it, we're gonna cancel it indefinitely.
It did not say.
It's canceled
for the
due to the
year.
weather.
Canceled due to the weather.
But due to weather.
But even,
Stating that you're.
and it's
going
just because of the weather.
revisit
But,
that
but
after.
Claudia,
Because of the weather.
even at last month's meeting,
Yeah, that's how usually, when you work in that, no, but that's why when you work in that field, when you cancel something. You're canceling due to inclement weather. The assumption is it will be scheduled, especially after all the meetings that you had. It's not like we just threw out there, oh, we're canceling. You sat down, you met with people, it was established, superintendent's coming. It's just proper protocol to then follow it up with. We're not going to be rescheduling the event for this
This
school year. End
Revisit it
of
next
conversation,
year.
done, that's it. But it's just to finalize that. You
And-
can't leave
and-
these
and I
things
think
open.
but I do think it looks bad that 2 months later, we're gonna tell them now, it's not done. But,
Well,
but I will say, right, but I will say this, so. In November, we had a
We
meeting,
gotta fix the mistake, that's
in
it.
November, we had a meeting,
Mhm.
and that was on the agenda. Our mistake is we didn't take a vote, right? But at that meeting, again, the topic came up. And I recall your question is
At the
Is
end.
it, no, when the, I think about, is it
I
postponed?
wasn't here
or
for that. I asked
the
at the end.
November, okay, is it postponed, no, well.
No, I was at
this
the
is
end. I
minute.
showed up late. You had already discussed.
Is it
that's why I asked.
postponed or whatever, blank, that was said. The only was
We
Maria.
decided to experiment.
Because I watched that meeting.
Okay, I don't need to
That-
be rude, but we need to move forward.
moving on to the senior banners update. Do we have a vendor yet for the senior?
Well, I guess, I'm sorry, yes. I don't know if I have to have a motion. I think it was just direction. Is that okay?
That's just.
I'll
the right-
So, no motion.
What was the direction again, I'm sorry?
the right-
You're the lead-
Explain
you're
it.
the final. And let everybody that was on the email to begin with, right?
On the senior banners, do we finally have a vendor for that, or did you finally were able to get communication with them?
Yeah, the vendor, we've already requested quotes, so just something to keep in mind and something for you guys to think about. I believe the first year that this started was maybe not last, but the one before that. At that point, we had about 80 banners ordered. I'm not sure if this has anything to do with COVID, but last year that we did it, we had 41 banners. So you can imagine that the cost of banners go up. If we continue in that direction, which means we lost 50% of orders, that means 20 for this year. So we're kind of preparing for the worst. So we want to quote them for 20. That means that the price is going to be relatively high on the order form, and we do have to put a disclaimer that if we don't meet a minimum, we cannot place orders, because if not, it's going to be a ridiculous amount for people to order. And at that point, we'll have to return them their money.
What would the price be?
I don't have the one for 20. I had originally gotten quotes for 50, 40, and 30, and even that was looking
So what
between
was the
120 and $130 per banner.
Typically,
And I think
how
our
long are the
beginning was
banners
about
up?
100.
How long are the banners up?
They're up from, we would put them up May, and they would come down when the new school year started. It's for the summer.
How many do you get for veterans? I've never known.
I'm not sure, because with veterans, we reuse them. Right, so we
Oh,
don't
okay.
place, and we have a sponsor that pays.
Oh,
for them.
okay.
There was a,
Awareness month that they came down.
there was a vendor that reached out, I know that Joseph sent me, that if you had used that vendor before, that if you reused them again, they would offer some free banners. If the program, that's the kind of program like that.
We can look into that. Our goal right now is to launch it in February. So that we have it, the orders in by April, so that we can put them up May. I can look into that.
I'll find you forward.
I have it, I can look for it.
So you give
Yeah.
them 2 months?
You remember, I believe we
For
had,
the People to
Is there
go-
any way to give people an opportunity to pay in 2 installments? Instead of, maybe that would help? Instead of
Yes, we
dishing
can
it
do
out
that,
all
but
at
I
once,
can,
maybe.
I can
2
perceive
installments?
that being in.
I'm gonna wait a minute, a second.
No, you do, it's automatically
The big
charged. You
question-
know how you put a credit card and it's automatically charged the next month?
But if for any reason, like let's say the card expires or anything like that, we can face issues with that. That's just something that
I don't know, I've seen that happen with. so
And
many
again,
things.
if that were to happen, just
So
theoretically,
the
then
biggest
that's
question
an
is-
order, but we could off the rest of your orders because we need to get a minimum.
Right,
So is there appetite for it? That's a question we need to really discuss, you know?
I can tell you that we've had 2 people call in so far, and it's not even out yet, but that's all the
the
information
year
I
that
have.
I did it, I loved it when she was a senior, and when Josh is a senior next year, I mean, they love to see their.
Well, if they can see it, because some of them, I cannot.
So what was the average cost last year?
Like about 100.
About $100.
No, the first year was about.
Yeah.
Last year we were 120. Remember. because
Yeah,
it
but we
went
had a
up.
sponsor.
I got
We
it.
Spons-
have to get a sponsor, right?
Right,
The veterans. I think it was like 150.
but Mario brought up the fact that there is a vendor interested, so we can reach out to the alternative vendor and see if they can provide something better. I think we originally did have a conversation with that alternative vendor, and I think they kind of wanted to do something about like maybe putting their logo on banners, so that's
Right. Didn't that
That's-
happen last year?
It happened last year, but that was like a last minute kind of.
I mean, how big does
emergency
the logo
because-
have to be on
because
it?
of that
I mean, obviously,
fluctuating
They can't be.
That
too
big,
big,
yeah.
because.
I mean, if the price is reasonable,
Right.
I don't, I mean, as a parent of a senior, I don't see an issue if there's a small. Yeah, if there's a small logo there, I mean, if the price is. You know, that's something to maybe we can talk
So
about.
just get information, we can bring it up back.
Is it significantly lower?
I'm not sure,
And moving on to.
but I can share with you guys via email if you want, so you can think about it before your next meeting.
Moving on to the annual award of excellence. The last update we had on that is, we had a date. We do have to create a subcommittee at some point.
And
we
your
do-
date has been confirmed, by the way, for our. meeting.
So we'll see, right? We decided April,
May 11th.
May 11.
And then we do have to work on the sponsor package.
Mhm.
So-
The sponsor package, you guys at the last meeting requested that I send you an example of what we've been using. So please, I mean, when you have your subcommittee meeting, just let me know if there's anything that needs to be changed or.
So being that we have a date, and we want to do things ahead of time, right?
We already have graphics drafted and I will have that for you guys tomorrow.
Awesome, awesome.
Now, keep in mind that obviously the details may differ if you guys change categories or little words here and there, but the look and feel so that it's all cohesive in terms of program and flyer and graphics that will go out. We're already started the
We need
process.
to discuss the way that, the nominations are being done.
But that will be something, right?
That would be discussion. Yeah, there's a lot to.
So do you want to go ahead and create a subcommittee now?
I
On
think we
date?
still have time.
On time?
The next meeting, we'll bring it up.
Now,
But-
keep in mind, because we never saying yourself. I would assume that at your subcommittee, you're gonna discuss those details such as what I just mentioned, categories and all that. I cannot push that out, although we have graphics until we have those details. So
Absolutely,
something for you guys to think.
But
We're ready to launch, but we would need. these details.
in the meantime, could you go again back to intergovernmental, let them know that we're hosting the event,
It's May 11th.
May 11th.
If you need anything else.
Please
Kind of
send,
a save it.
please send out an invitation to a new board member.
Is the time gonna be at the same time? It was 6:20?
6:30.
So the board member,
So at least you have the time and.
the town council,
Location. Yeah, an invite. Yeah, invite has been sent out to mayor and town council.
the town council, please send out an invite to the superintendent.
Or principals?
And principals.
Yeah, all principals and stuff. So again, you don't want to create a subcommittee yet, you need the time.
I just have a question. If I want to add something to the guidelines of the awards, would that be, can we discuss that in the subcommittee? Or if we would have to vote or anything like that?
We'd have to write it
We'd
back.
have to bring it back.
Or you guys can do a special call as well. If you want to have it for your phone.
So by next month, you think we'll have a subthing? Okay, so we'll wait for that. Moving on to new business. Yay, elections. Now it's December, we have to have elections for chair, vice chair, and secretary. So, being so, any nominations on there?
Every year make the same motion. I will motion to nominate Emily to be the president. She's always gonna deny it. Listen, I wanna put it on record though. Listen, I'm gonna say it again. I think you've done a great job.
Yes.
I think you have the hardest job on the table. And
I
And he
motion,
knows from afar. You know, from afar.
yes, I've been there, done that. Don't wanna do it again, but
I motion to, for Hector,
no, what do you motion for? Hector?
no, motion, I nominate, Hector as chair.
No,
But now, which position are we doing first?
Chair.
President.
Those are not on.
Chair.
Or chair.
Chair, I'm president.
Chair.
But you're vice chair and
So
so
do the chair first. Nomination is
you
Hector.
don't wanna do it?
I believe we should have changed, you know. I mean, and you nominate you, you accept my nomination.
I mean, I'm not gonna oppose it, but I still think Emily can do.
Emily unfortunately has,
She declined.
she declined. the
Thank you
nomination.
I mean, anybody want to nominate anybody else? I'm okay with it.
Any other nomination? So, Emily, let's take a vote on chair. Hector. Yes,
Oh, wait, that's the name or what's the yes?
yes,
Yes, okay, okay.
Actually, oh, yeah, it's just, yes.
yes.
Okay.
Hector?
Thank you, vote.
Why would I vote on myself? So there is no way.
Some council members.
All right. If nobody else is here, I guess.
So it's a yes? A yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes, okay, right. I don't think it's right, right, that you-
Yes.
Mhm.
And I say yes.
New chair, Hector.
So you don't want to be vice chair? I mean,
Hector. Nominations for vice chair.
So,
Nominate Jessica Alonso.
Sonia, what do you
No, I
think? too?
can't.
Why?
You never want to be.
You don't want to be vice chair?
No. No, no, me.
You cannot have any-
And nominate Claudia for vice chair. I'll need two outspoken people. Then Mario,
Guess that.
you guys are looking at
They just slip it, huh?
Who nominates?
I see, I like,
They lean
you
one
like to
way.
hear voices, I like to hear. We're always arguing about.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
it's a lot of work.
I don't mind taking the vice chair, but Hector's not available, I will. So.
I know,
I
did it. I know.
Jessica,
Was chair for 6 years.
Jessica, you nominated.
Yes, I'll nominate Mario for vice chair.
Jessica. Second.
You're seconding?
Sure. Oh, my God. No, the ladies, no, the ladies want
It's unanimous.
Mario,
Yes.
Hector,
Mario, yes.
Eileen.
Yes.
Jessica.
Yes.
Claudia,
Mhm.
and I say yes.
Moving on to secretary.
A wonderful job.
No, I nominate Emily.
So for the third time, right?
Emily, do you mind typing?
No.
I'm used to it.
You accept the nomination?
Yeah. And Mario.
Yes.
Hector.
100% yes. As long as it's not me.
Jessica.
Yes.
Claudia.
Yes.
Great. That's it.
That's it.
Can I make, so let's do announcements, no?
Yes, real quick announcement. I have an announcement. I wanted to get your opinion. There was an accident at Goldman a couple weeks ago. A young lady got hit in the back of the head with a mirror from a car. She got airlifted. She broke her nose. and
Was she walking
She was walking.
from where to where?
She was on the crosswalk and I believe they told him to stop. He didn't stop. And I believe the girl might have been on the phone and boom and hit to the ground. It was daytime. You know, I said that at nighttime that crosswalk is dangerous. I know that they're trying to do some lights for it, but I don't know, we should start an initiative for these kids, look up, you're
Yes.
missing the world,
Yes,
something.
yes.
Because I tried to wrap my head around this accident.
Yeah.
And even if you, a safety sheet,
They're not looking.
you're not looking.
They're not
They're
looking
not
like
looking,
this.
you know?
I think the best future career for students is to be a chiropractor, yes, because they're like this.
Correct.
And they, yeah, I think that would be a great.
So, I wanted to see what we could do about that, because it's, at the end of the day, I've talked to the officer, and there's not much you can do about safety. I mean, if the kid's not looking, what do you do?
It's called
I
natural
also
selection.
think, being a parent at that school and seeing the traffic. I think that the biggest problem that we have is not only the amount of cars that are, after school waiting for a pickup and so on. But the issue that we're having is the parents speeding. Parents do not pay attention to the schools, to the kids crossing. Even if there's an officer standing there and telling them, do not move your car, they're still gonna
Yes,
move
sir.
their car. They're speeding, there's nothing that really shows like the other schools do, that they have the, drive carefully, the lights, and we don't have none of that at Barber Moment.
I'll
So-
interject on that. So years ago, I was also at Goldman, and we brought it up back then, and what we were told was that after a certain year, the high schools weren't doing it anymore. So then the next question was, and again, maybe that's something that can be brought up
I
somehow.
think, yeah.
The next thing was, what can we piggyback off of,
Mhm.
the Bob Grant,
PLC, right?
the PLC, and just
Yeah.
right
Crosswalk
push it so that,
Exactly.
because the flashing lights were the big.
Because exactly, we
The
have,
flashing- there's no flashing lights over
kids,
there.
we have a PLC. I'm telling you, I am there every day to pick up my daughter. And for the past 4 months, even when she was there, parents do not pay attention to the police officer standing in front of them. They do not pay attention to the kids crossing. They don't care. Their cars go first. They don't, the speeding, there's something needs to be done. And I heard about the issue. I heard what happened. And I heard that the parent who was driving, because it was a parent, that was driving the car that hit the young lady, received a ticket for speeding. I don't know if that's true or not. But however, I see it every day, and it's a big problem, it's big concerns, and also the fact that since parents are parking in the middle of the road, on the side. They even park on my block, and I live 2 blocks away in order to pick up their kids. Kids are walking everywhere. So you have them crossing between cars, behind cars, everything. So there's not enough supervision, there's not enough officers, and then we don't have any signs, So nobody's really respecting the law there, and kids are gonna get hurt. They're gonna continue to get hurt.
Do
And
they
why do
have-
we have to wait till they get hurt, like in this case?
Do they have teachers coming out
No,
to like the
No.
front sidewalk?
They
Like, how do
only-
the kids line up to
they
get
don't-
picked up? How does
no,
that
no,
work?
no.
But sometimes they do have some teachers help out.
They don't have the.
You know, I think it's-
They
I mean,
don't have.
the cost of-
I mean.
Not- not-
I don't want to- I don't know, but they all, have,
Yeah.
like in, our it can be done in, or like, yeah, but like, my kids in high school, they all, there's a sidewalk in front of the school, like at Harvard. And they're all waiting, the ones that get picked up, they're all waiting there for the parents to go through the car line and come around.
I agree in all this.
It's like, and you guys have the space to do a car line and.
yeah, but the amount
I
of
mean-
traffic, the amount of cars that are there.
Yeah.
Manage it.
No way of being.
How many kids are there?
Oh my gosh. So the other thing is that,
But I do agree with you on the traffic, but I don't, my point is,
they expect.
Yeah, but I would think
some sort of, they're old
The
enough
mental
to walk.
procedure should be either teach or go out.
No.
at the end of the day,
They're not gonna. Because that you're having to fight with the parents. If they don't respect him,
They're not gonna-
he's a gun and has a badge. What do you think they're gonna do with us?
They don't.
Okay, when you, next thing you know, we're the ones being airlifted. It
This-
doesn't work. It's sadly, it's society. They don't care. They don't respect the law. They don't respect people. They don't respect life. And then at the same time, everybody's busy doing their own thing. I'm gonna cross here. I'm gonna do whatever I want because I'm special and everyone's gonna stop.
that's
You
what
have
I'm-
to exercise, some common sense. You're crossing the street, you shouldn't be on the phone. The
Correct.
signs you can put up, the signs, if they ignore him, they're gonna ignore the signs.
Even
I mean,
the
but you
police
can put
officers.
like, but you can create the awareness and say, look up.
Look,
That's a
because-
great one.
Because
That's,
even the
that,
police officer has been, I just told a police officer, someone told a police officer once, hey, stop there, they nodded. right? And the car kept on going because he just done it, kept on looking at his phone, and he hit the cop. He
Yeah,
hit,
but in
he hit
this
red,
case-
so the whole thing that I was doing is that not only parents, but students, they need to look up, they need to be aware of their surroundings.
Right, so but in this case, the issue, the biggest problem we're having, especially at Barbara Woman, and I'm only speaking on that school because that's where I visit every day and I'm there every day. The biggest problem that we have is not just the students, it's the parents, and we need more enforcement, we need, as a matter of fact, right after it happened, now we have another officer. Now we have another school officer that's at the parking lot and standing there, but the school is big, a lot of students, we have parents parked everywhere. Kids are crossing, they're dismissed, kids are crossing for donde sea.
And everybody.
And then there's nothing guiding these parents that you don't have, there's no signs like in every other school, they think it's a free for all. Okay, I'm gonna speed and who cares? And there's no sign that says I can't speed, maybe uno da la nada behind the bushes, because it needs to
So
be
let me
visible.
ask you a
Something
question.
needs to be done that needs. to
Why
be-
doesn't the PTSA? Schedule for. Okay, so concerned parents, why don't they go to the district? Why don't they voice their concern?
Mhm.
Parent choice, parents go and voice their concerns and see if the school police can offer some dismissal. They can send some more officers, they can do something
At
else,
the beginning.
a little more personnel there, maybe just for dismissal time. I mean.
I'll tell you this.
Officer.
No, I'm saying the school police can, I mean.
School police did game.
I spoke to him on the phone and I gave him exactly my concerns. I told him
But
everything.
go to the district,
And,
go to the
and
school board.
he said there's only I can do so much and it has to, exactly.
Okay, go to the school board.
He's gonna get you for saying.
So I understand what you're saying, but this is bigger than just,
Look up, you think it's just bigger than look up?
spreading flyers.
No,
saying,
maybe
"Look up."
you do need to have a little bit more presence, authority presence out there at dismissal time. And see what can happen.
But again, and I know you're gonna get you for saying this, but the truth is, women should be capped at a certain number. The way where it's located, the fact that all the kids drive, you have a window coming in, at some point, we're gonna have to put some sort of, we don't, I don't
But
have.
don't buildings have a certain capacity?
Sure, but have you seen Goldman, how big it is?
No,
Goldman's built for like 3,700 kids, that's 2,900, they're still under capacity.
But guys, this is happening everywhere in all the high schools. You drive by America and you get the same issue.
So
Or you
that's
get
what I
all-
told Mario when.
It's happening.
I would have never thought
Smaller
that at
schools.
Goldman, it would have actually happened, even with all the chaos, because it's, my opinion is very controlled in comparison. And I tell you, because I talked to Northwest, and they don't know what they're gonna do, because they have
Yeah.
people calling all the time, and what happens over there is they don't have the same thing that we have in the town, where there's a contract where we're there, in the morning, and the afternoon, for them, it's school board. So, they're having 10 times the problems that we're having, and American is the main one.
I
You
know.
pass by there at this
No,
minute,
you
and you better be like this, slowing down, because they're jumping in front of you, they don't care, they're high schools, they don't care.
And in my.
You can hit a kid without.
Yeah,
you can hit the most cautious, right?
Yeah.
And kids will jump on.
And laughing.
And then we don't have.
I apologize, but I make a motion to adjourn at 7:02.
One more.
Oh, one more announcement?
The special needs, if you know any of the schools, they need what we want to, if
Yeah.
a project, like there's a student in one of your schools that has a special need, and it's like an iPad, or maybe they need to upgrade one of the classrooms, or one of the boards, we like to donate that. So if you can help us, find the right, it will be maybe the best. We don't wanna do individual, a student, we wanna help
A whole class.
Help a class, like adopt a class.
Yes.
They will with the grant, we get it out, they use it from the.
Yes.
Now, also, that you mentioned, the haircut place in Main Street, what's it called? Sharky's, they're starting a new, low sensory Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So I was, they we went, they did a good job. They were really concerned that they got everything done correctly, so they're really great, they're really great friendly.